the center. And please put your contact details in the chat, and you can share information that you might not be able to say right now. The other important part about the chat is saving it. So when you have the chat open, bottom right, you see the three dots. Click that and save the chat before you exit it. In the event that you exit out and did not do that, get a hold of me. I will send you the chat. Over to your bottom left corner is the mute button. So if you have background noises or you're having echo feedback, then hit the mute button, negate the sound. That way, if you have screaming dogs and barking kids in the background, you won't for the rest of us. And all good. And over to you, Margaret Ann.
Perfect. Okay, thanks a lot, Bernie. Welcome to everybody to our Connect Ottawa Tuesday keynote session call. Kind of cool. This call's been going on for a few years now. So one thing about Connect Ottawa, I'd like to say that we're accountable. We do show up every week. We've only taken a couple of weeks off every year just for holidays. So welcome to our audience today. For those that first time attending, Connect Ottawa is a bit about networking and meeting new people. So as Bernie was mentioning, encourage you to put your links in the chat so people can reach out. We also are about education and learning. So we're launching our new Connect Ottawa Academy, where we have 48 weeks that will be unrolling to business owners that want to learn and grow together. There will also be options for people if you're looking for a place to host your online courses or do workshops. That might be something. Why would you want to do with Connect Ottawa? Well, we have unique artificial intelligence on our side with e-learning and business networking, and we're going to be doing something new. So if you're curious at all and would like to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be putting a few notes into the chat. And one of the other offerings that we have decided to do is we only have so many Tuesdays. So we're going to be opening this session up to schedules that are convenient to you and us. So in actual fact, what we do is we will host your event. So if you're looking to do a presentation and invite your crowd in and want someone to orchestrate it, I'll also put that link in the chat box. But I'm not really good at multitasking, so I'll do that in a bit. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go around the room and we're going to have everybody introduce themselves. And we are looking forward to Dina Laglin today from Inner Warrior Coach, who is going to be sharing her journey, which I'm really excited to hear about today. But I'm going to leave that for Bernie to introduce in a moment. So on that note, Mayank, why don't we start with you?
Well, yeah, I'm always the first in line. Name is Mayank Sharma. I am from Ottawa. I'm going to stop calling myself Indian now because I'm going to get my passport in 365 days. So I'm going to be Canadian. I can't keep it. I have to become Indian. So I'm from Ottawa, Canada, and I am a health and wellness coach. And my company is called MS Body Works, and I'm going to share my website, which is msbfit.com. And I have a studio in my house, and I also train people online. Yeah, pretty much. And then my podcast is also on Spotify, so I'm going to share that too in the links. So that's it. It's pretty much it. Tiny introduction.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Mike. That was great. And how about Michael? And you're on mute.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll take a cue from Mayak, Michael, and I'm hoping to be called to take my oath of citizenship anytime soon. I've passed all the tests, and so just that's I'm waiting for. And I run AOYAC, an organization. We help individuals and families save on costs, shopping, groceries, and that's what I do, help you save your cost and reduce your shopping bill. So I'm going to put my contact details in the chat. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Like, this is exciting news today. Look at this. All these new Canadians on the forefront. This is awesome. Yeah. So what about Willie?
Thanks, Margaret. I could probably tell from my accent I'm not Canadian.
Well, I'll bring you over.
I have relatives in Ontario, so I'm kind of half Canadian. I'm Willie Nichol. I'm the cop turned life coach, ex-police officer, ex-security manager. I'm now a personal development and transformation coach. I help people who want to become a better version of who they are now. I help them find their own answers to where they're stuck in life or where they're not getting the results they really want. So I'll put my details in the chat box. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or set up a chat. Thanks for listening.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Willie. And Alan.
Hello there. I'm Alan. I live in the UK, in Worcestershire. I'm a mindset coach. My target audience will be men approaching retirement. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Alan. And Bernie.
Geez, I wonder what I do. Creative Insight Consultants is what I do, or the name of my company, B2B Connections or People Connections. You'll see some stuff in the chat, and it has contact details. I'm involved in a Property Wizard, which is a basically how to invest in commercial real estate and be in that space. Over to you, Margaret Ann.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'm Margaret Ann Davis, and I'm from Ottawa, Canada. I've lived here all my life. And, thrilled to hear all these success stories coming into September because, this is the time. I'm trying to put the pandemic behind us and say, let's get on to new ventures and just go for it. And if not now, when? So you might see a lot of my emails that'll start saying that, if not now, when? So I'm going to invite you to join us at Connect Ottawa because we are looking for the most dynamic, positive individuals that want to take this next quarter and rock and roll as we head out of 2022 for exciting things in 2023. And on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Bernie to introduce Dina. Sorry, Dina.
That's okay.
Margaret Ann, thank you so much. So, folks, allow me to introduce the wonderful, the ever popular, ever vivacious Dina Lakeland, the Inner Warrior Coach. So Dina, she's a wife, a mom, 2 successful daughters, and all being a licensed RN, an EMT, home health care provider. She's also been a first responder, and she exemplifies strength and courage. She thinks on her feet, and she has her own self-response. Her own self-response time wasn't always that way. Cancer saved her life. Cancer, she had helped her discover the underlying fears that paralyzed her and internal fears that almost killed her. So now Dina, she's a certified health and life transformation coach that helps women face their greatest fear to gain clarity, the source to overcome the worries, that feel toxic like cancer. Today, she has great strength and response time for herself, mission, and to help others identify her fears and overcome what they dread using. She has custom tools to help them gain back control and unleash their inner warrior. I'm going to stop because I'm taking too much of your thunder away. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it, and it's an honor to be here. Yeah, Dina Lakeland, that is me. And I wasn't always this strong, courageous, empathetic, powerful woman known as the fearless inner warrior. The truth of the matter is, I didn't discover who I was till my late 40s, even early 50s, because I allowed fear to control me in every area of my life. So during our time together, I'm actually going to share my journey with you and how I became so purposeful and passionate about supporting women to realize that we have control over our fear. We have a choice to make the decisions for ourselves and to live in freedom every moment of every day with no guilt. And that is truly my mission. And using my 4-stage process to conquer fear that feels toxic like cancer. So now it's time to unleash your inner warrior. And I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. Imagine if you're driving home from work and the phone rings and the voice on the other end says to you, "Where are you?" And you have that puzzled look on your face and you say, "I'm driving home from work." And that voice says, "Pull over to the side of the road." And all of a sudden, the fear comes over you. And that voice says, "You have cancer." you have an aggressive form of breast cancer, you need to see an oncologist and a breast surgeon immediately. And then there's silence as that voice disappears. Imagine the fear that I had, the shock that I had, thinking the worst. Cancer saved my life, and my other fears almost killed me. It was an hour drive home that day. It was raining, there was traffic. And all I kept thinking about was, I did everything right. I got to be as healthy as I can possibly be. I lost over 110 pounds so that I wouldn't end up with a disease or an illness like every single family member that I had. And then to only hear those dreaded words, you have a fatal disease. It may be hard to understand or believe that I could receive a phone call like that, and most people think they're going to die. And yet, that wasn't my greatest fear. My greatest fear was, what is my family going to think of me? Because now I had to take care of myself first and not feel guilty about it. Everyone in my life was going to judge me, and I was going to lose their love. That toxic fear controlled me. And it actually felt like it was sucking the life out of me more so than the cancer. And you're probably saying, she must be crazy to think like that, getting a diagnosis like that, and she's worried about being judged and not loved. Let's take a look why. That's me, bold as a cue ball. See that smile on my face? I decided that it wasn't going to take over me, that fear. But fear can be false evidence appearing real. So what was false to me? It was my most inner deep thoughts of being judged, not loved, being alone. And to me, that felt so real. I'm curious. Is there anyone here who has experienced this? If so, put in the chat, yes, yes, false evidence, or just raise your hand if you ever felt this way before. I'm going to share a story with you. I belong to the local fire department, and I was an EMT, and I was going to a meeting one night. And as bald as my head is, I would wear hats, whether it was a scarf, whether it was a beanie, anything I could put on my head to keep my head warm, because I needed to cover that bald head. So I got to the firehouse, and I walk into the meeting room, and there was a bunch of old-time gentlemen sitting there, and that's what we call them. And I ran up behind one of them, and I pulled my beanie off my head, and I said, "My head is bolder than your head." The shock on their face, I just kind of like stood there, and I did one of these things like what's so crazy about this? And all I did was bust out laughing, and then they started to laugh. The bottom line is they still loved me. They didn't judge me. So what I thought was false evidence appearing real to me. And the only time this is true is when we allow it to be true. Laughter is one of the many tools I discovered to conquer that fear. What's the phrase? Laughter is the best medicine. And tell you the truth, there's no deductible or copayment for that as well. So it is actually one of many tools I teach my clients to use in my stage 2 of 4 stages to overcome fears that feel toxic like cancer. So let's take a look at the definition of fear. It's in the Webster Dictionary. It's an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation and awareness of imminent life-threatening danger. So let's think about this for a second. The story I told you about my biggest fears of being not loved and judged, and me ripping off the beanie off the top of my head, was I in any imminent life-threatening danger? No, not at all. So I'm curious, what is your definition of fear? If you're willing to share, put it in the chat. What might be your definition of fear? And by the end of this talk, you will have the solution to absolutely transform your life so you can conquer that fear and be a wellness warrior for life like me. So, what is my definition of fear? I think you can kind of figure it out a little bit. It's that place where everything is spinning out of control. That space of never having the choice to make a decision for yourself, or for myself, actually. It's that feeling, of course, of being judged, not loved, and alone. Can you think of a time in your life where you were afraid of something? Think about it. Got it? All right. Put hashtag got it in the comments. Now ask yourself, that thing that you were most afraid of, was it life-threatening? I'm curious. Some of you may have thought of something immediately that you were afraid of. And then some of you may be saying, I really can't remember a time where this might have happened. And that's okay. Let me help you out here. There's some interesting statistics. In 2017, data from AE Shoot illustrates that only 6% of the population globally, now here's the key, globally, experienced fear from a fatal disease. In 2019 survey done by Chapman University, only 34.6% of the participants feared their own mortality versus the 77.2%, and get this, whose number one fear was corrupt government officials. So actually, the mortality ranked number 44 on a list of 88 fears. That's half the amount. More than double of these participants, their number one fear was corrupt government officials rather than their own mortality. Well, I believe some people may feel that corrupt government officials are a real imminent danger. But in reality, it's not as dangerous as cancer. Maybe you are one of the 6% who may face this, or maybe not. Maybe you are part of the 77.2% that your number one fear may have nothing to do with a fatal disease. These statistics really look at the percentage of truth versus the power fear has over us. So, struggles poison the quality of our life. So that fear that you have of something, do you think it can control your daily experience? And if it does, what might you want to be different? If you've never felt this way yourself, What struggles do you think someone you know, whether it's a family member, a friend, a coworker, would have that feels toxic to them? The bottom line is the struggles that poison the quality of our life. What do we allow to tolerate within ourselves? Or what do we tolerate from others? Because living consistently with our fears paralyze us from making decisions in every area of our life, which ultimately poisons, just like chemo does, the quality of our life. And the bottom line is we don't have to face this alone at all. Love and appreciate yourself with putting yourself first with no guilt. I call this the 4-stage process to let go of fear because of the 4 stages of cancer. Only in this case, when you finish stage 4, it's a good thing. Let me give you an example of this. I worked with a client who heard me speak on a platform. It was an interview, and I believe it was LinkedIn Live, to be honest with you. And this woman came to me who was in remission, and she said her biggest fear was of a medication that we take called tamoxifen. But as we started working together, we took the layers of the onion and we peeled them back. And we discovered together what her greatest fear was. And believe it or not, her greatest fear was driving. She had her first panic attack and the anxiety level when she was sky high, when she was in her early 20s. And I said to her, can you remember a time where you felt happy, confident driving? And she said, of course I do, Dina. It was when I used to drive in high school to my grandma's house to the country. And the radio was on, the windows were down, the wind was blowing through her hair. And I said to her, do you have a picture of that? And she said, of course I do. But that fear actually trapped her and paralyzed her. She wouldn't eat. She had such anxiety that it made her not eat. It bothered her so much, it affected her sleep. It affected the relationship with her husband because when he wanted to go do activities, she didn't want to get in the car. And it also affected her career. Because when she was going through this, we had the stay-at-home order, but now she had to go back to work and she had to drive. So what we did was we came up with the customized tools, and just listen to what they were. Very simple. She had the picture of herself in that car that she loved to go to grandma's house. She would visualize herself with the radio on, the wind blowing through her hair. And before she started that car, she would sit behind the wheel and just take nice, deep, slow breaths. And because she used these 3 simple tools, she connected with her inner warrior and made the decision by creating that anchor of precisely what she wanted to experience. That happiness, that confidence, that freedom. And her life was changed forever. Not only with her husband, but most important, with herself. Because she put herself first and she was living in freedom every day. She gained back control of her life. And she just started to enjoy and love herself again. So imagine living your life in freedom every day, loving and appreciating yourself first with no guilt, and taking that fear and now turning it into feeling excited and ready. for any situation that you may be faced with. The truth is, we have the ability to look at life this way in every single situation we may come across, and the freedom is endless. So now is the time to let go of that fear and unleash your inner warrior. I am Dina Legland, the Inner Warrior Coach. And if you or somebody you know wants to conquer that fear, give them my information and they can book a complimentary 30-minute Conquer Your Fear discovery session. My contact information is at the bottom. It's also going to be in the chat. And at this moment, I would love for you all to share your thoughts.
I mean,
Thank you.
I love fear.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like fire. It either cooks your food or it burns your food. You know, it's
So true.
It's like, for me, when I'm scared, you only feel alive when you're scared. Nobody feels alive when they know they can do stuff. I mean, if I know how to ride a bike, I ain't fearful. That's okay. I can ride a bike. But when it comes to me, when I wasn't an employee and I wanted to become the business owner, that was a bit scary. But what's the, you know, it's funny. I mean, it's fun. You know, I think I love fear. Even when it comes to striking a conversation with someone you don't know in a hyper public situation, some people contemplate a lot. Oh my God, what if that person is going to snap at me, this and that? I'm like, okay, well, let's do it scared. There's no such thing as fear. Like, I mean, fear is a real thing, but you can use it as your oven to cook your food or bake your cake, or you can use it just to burn it and just, you know, like you said, it can destroy your life or it can create your life. So fear is my friend. I love it.
Right. I've been saying lately to my clients and even people that I come in contact with, networking and just building beautiful relationships with people, is instead of using the word I'm afraid, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do this presentation. I'm excited to meet somebody new. I'm excited for that new job I'm going to start. I'm excited to see what this business is going to, how this business is going to benefit others. It's things like that.
Absolutely.
It's true.
I think, yeah, I like that, Dina. It's like reframing our thinking, eh? And so often, like when my aunt was saying that too, is that is that fine line between fear and excited.
Right.
The feeling is the same.
Absolutely.
So exactly. Why not just switch that and say I'm excited as opposed to I'm afraid? Yeah, I remember when you were asking about being afraid. You know, I remember when I was young, I was like not. I was a very meek mouse and stuff, and stepping out of my, people would say that doesn't happen now, but you know, for anybody that is doing that, it's just like one step at a time, eh? That's why it's great to have a coach that goes and acknowledges it and helps you walk through those things that you're feeling, and you can't get to the root cause of why you feel it. That's awesome.
Right.
I love that story you shared.
I have a story. I don't know how to swim. I don't. I'm 27 years of age. I don't know how to swim. And when the water gets above like this logo, like for example, it petrifies me. So it's because it's not my fault. Where I'm from, swimming, water, beaches is not a thing. And on top of that, fear is instilled in your mind. Water fear, like water, like drowning, that fear is instilled in your mind when you go to India, especially in my city. If you see a lake, a pond, or anything, they will have like big iron railings, and they will have a sign that says stay away, like, you know, have like keep distance from the railing. So, you know, and even though the water was far away, but it's the fear. You keep reading it, and then it's 25 years of reading it. So when I tried this summer, I went to my friend's place in downtown, and they had like a beautiful luxury pool, and I have never even nosed like, you know, take like a dip in the water. So he's like, go for it. And every time I go, it's like, and I stop, you know, like every time, like I wanted to, but then I got pissed off at myself. So my point is, sometimes you should get pissed off at yourself that what the hell is going on? I ain't going to die. It's a 4 feet swimming pool and I am 5'10", so I'm not dying. So I tried it one time, And then for the first time when I did it 10 times after. So the point is, the minute you do what you're scared of, it's gone. Like it's absolutely gone. Like 90% of that fear is done. Like bungee jumping, skydiving. You're like, that's why when you go for skydiving, they don't tell you when they're going to push you. They say 3, 2, 1. And you're expecting that the guy is going to push you at 1, but that goddamn guy pushes you at 2. He's like, because if they tell you that it's 3 seconds, the guy's going, oh my God, I'm gonna jump. No, he's like 3, 2. They don't tell you, and then you go enjoy your whole experience. So I think you're right, Dina. It's when you perform the task, no amount of books can help you get away with it. No amount of videos can help you get away with it. You have to do the exact task that you're scared of, even if it's talking to a girl, talking to a guy, talking to a prospect, even like I'm presenting for the first time in my life next week. I've never presented any time, but I'm totally confident because I just don't give a damn what people think about me.
Well, I'm going to be very honest with you. Okay. I have been interviewed on podcasts a dozen times. This is literally my first presentation with a PowerPoint.
Interesting. Well, you did very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you know what, I like that because as business owners, we're, like I was mentioning before, we're always sitting back trying to figure out what solutions can we offer to help people. And that's why at this, we decided to open up the session to allow more people this opportunity. Because if you just do Tuesdays at lunch, there's only 52 in a year, and there's lots of people that want them. So we're trying to figure out, what do we do? So that's what we're going to do. So it's cool that you said that. There's a lot of people that have came on and it was their first presentation. And to be quite honest, I've only done one. And that probably, when you say that, scared me more than anything. Like it's funny. You could be confident, but actually trying to flip through the presentation, you
worry about the internet going down. You worry about the connections aren't working.
What if the screen doesn't share?
And even in business, like you can have multiple fears, fear of swimming, water, fire. But if you have this one fear of not asking for a sale or like offering your service, go work for someone else because you're done. Like you're absolutely done. If you're a service provider or if you sell real tangible goods, and you have this fear of what are they going to think about me if I pitch my service or my product, then you should not be an entrepreneur at all because you will be poor, stressed out, and nothing's going to happen, right? So that's the biggest.
Okay, don't be so hard. Everybody can learn. That's why we have people like Dean on the call.
Yeah, but you said it correctly when you truly have to embrace your fear.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it because that's when illnesses and sicknesses and mental health and all of that plays a big part if you don't face it.
Oh yeah, 110%.
Somebody put in the chat Willie did about videos from Mel Robbins. I love Mel Robbins. I listen to her all the time. I think she's amazing.
Really hot. She's hot for her age, though. She's like kind of.
My egg only from you.
Well, I'm the youngest one here. I think everybody's married here.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who can say something like that. Nobody else can do that.
We're married. We're not dead.
Right.
That's true.
So come back on topic here, Dina. That was great. Anybody else want to share? Maybe you fear. We are new business owners. Did you get something out of the call? Is there something that you're going, wow, kind of like my Yank sharing openly, which was really cool, that you got stuck on? This is the time.
I have a not fear of IT tech because I'm useless at it. And I have a YouTube channel to prove it. I'm known as the Techno Dinosaur. It's an age thing. However, on one networking call, I was complaining that I didn't like tech and I wasn't comfortable with it. And a wise man said to me, what you need to do, Willie, is become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that also applies to your fear. be comfortable with your fear. It's uncomfortable to start with, but after a while, you become comfortable with it.
Dean, I have a question for you, which
Mhm.
is like, you know, when you go through cancer and you go through chemo and stuff, so you obviously lose your hair, right? And
Yes.
We live in the world today where beauty is like, for no reason, beauty is on the top. Okay, I got the best this and this, and I got the whatever. So when that happened, and you know, you lost your hair and stuff, so what was your course of action when it comes to accepting the reality that this is not, like, you know, of course this is not permanent, you got beautiful, you got,
Hey, got my hair back.
I know, it looks great.
how did you cope up with the fact that, okay, I had something for so many years, but now it's not there on my head? Like, that's like the big thing, because these days people my age, they get like, I mean, they get like something bad with their, like, they have a patchy beard, and oh my God, and my beard is patchy, and this,
Uh-huh.
and just like, there's like a little thing here. So they want everything to be perfect, and that's why they go to Beverly Hills and get some plastics and whatever, they get that kind of stuff done. So how did you, like, basically cope up with the fact that, okay, now I don't have, like, you know, beautiful these tangles and stuff. So how did you cope up with that kind of situation?
It's one of the tools that I spoke about. It's laughter. I used humor for it, to be honest with you.
But did it took some time to develop that attitude, or was it just like right off the bat?
For me, it was right off the bat, because my dad was always cracking jokes. We would laugh at the most ridiculous things. So from childhood, we always laughed at silly, crazy things, you know. And the bottom line is, I had no control over it. It was going.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
the medication I was on was called the Red Devil drugs.
Okay.
And they were very potent. And what ended up happening is, they said within 2 treatments, you're going to lose your hair. So I was already prepared for it.
Yeah.
So what I did is I buzzed my hair, you know, really buzzed it. And then I said, because it started to fall out. And I would joke around about it. Like, it was around Thanksgiving time, and my whole entire family was around. And I just went like this to the back of my head, and I just pulled out a clump of hair, and the entire family like went crazy, right?
Yeah.
My brother is bald. He lost his hair at a very young age. So I took the hair and I plopped it on top of his head. And I'm hysterical laughing. And they're all like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, it's only hair. Literally, it really is. And it grew back. It grows back. There's a very, very small percentage of women or men that go through chemo, lose their hair, and it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
It's a very...
And it seems to come back curly.
Well,
most of the people I saw.
Funny you should mention that, because my family and friends took bets. My hair is naturally this color and naturally curly. So it left that way and came back that way.
Okay.
But the joke in the family was, and the bet was, oh, let's see if it comes in red and straight.
You know, Dina, what it's so cool that you're sharing from the heart there. Yeah, because it's tough, but you know, kind of like our family, when anything happens, it's comic relief. Yeah. Like anybody else walking into our family would probably maybe thinks we're a little nuts, because we joke about everything. That's how we get through, you know, loss, pain, no matter if it's you know, a disease, a loved one, or whatever. And it, not in a bad way. It's just that's our coping mechanism, you know, to do that.
It's also flipping the switch, reframing something. Instead of it being so negative, how can I reframe it to be positive?
Absolutely.
Well, the reason I asked you this is because like, I have a lot of friends, and you know, usually people from Indian genetics, they are blessed with like hair and stuff. It's just the
hair is gorgeous.
Yeah, so some of my friends are like, man, you got this and I don't. I'm like, man, you have 2 legs, and there are people out there they do not have that. So you focus on something that you don't have all the time, you will get more of what you don't have. You will keep attracting more of, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this. And it's literally like a syndrome at these days, because it's like lack thinking, right? Like thinking from the lack. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have the same car. It's like a dog chasing its own tail. Like just like we're running in circles and chasing its own tail.
Absolutely.
And that's why I asked, because my mom, she went through typhoid. It's a water type disease in India, because when water gets contaminated up to a level, then you get this disease and you lose your hair automatically, not through the treatment.
Wow.
So like it just goes away, and then it came back. So it's just because purely genetics. But if they didn't, that doesn't mean that you stay stressed for the rest of your life, or, oh my God, they didn't came back, or this or that. So that's why I asked that question.
There are, I know a lot of women, just real quick, I know a lot of women that lost their hair and then they got to play with wigs.
That's true.
Blonde, long blonde hair, red hair, all different kinds of.
Well, I mean, people who are brown in color, they cannot pull off many other colors in hair. White people, they can pull off.
We're going to go over to Michael.
Yeah, hi, Dina. I just want to say your strength and endurance in going through what is really amazing. Not everyone is able to go through this, and I've seen people that become depressed, and it's really amazing how you took it. And concerning fear, I would say fear is natural from my own experience.
Absolutely.
If you are living your comforts of what you are used to doing, it's natural to be scared. Now, if you have a dream or a goal that you're not scared about sometimes, then if it's not big enough, that's the way I feel it. You need to have, fear is natural because you're doing something you've not done before. It's new to you. But like you said, reframing the fear, kind of changing the sentence or changing it, like making it suit you, turning the fear to suit you, and you give yourself a different meaning to that fear. It helps you to move forward and take steps, one step at a time. And gradually, like Maya said, the action will kill the fear gradually. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Gradually, you keep on going. And before you know, the fear is gone. So that's just what I want to say.
But also, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. But what's also interesting is when we have these fears and we know how to identify them and then work through them with certain tools that you develop or discover, and knowing that now that you have these tools, I got through it. But truly, do the fears really go away? No. What ends up happening is that you start to realize, if that fear starts to creep up a little bit, wait a minute, I got the tools to control it. It's not going to take control of me anymore. You know, I still have fears of being judged and not loved. There's certain presentation. I had to do a proposal for a cancer institute here in Florida. And it was just like, oh no, there's that fear again. Are they going to judge me? Are they going to judge me? And I used my own tools, took some deep breaths before I went into that proposal. I visualized, how I wanted to be, confident, happy. And when I did that, when I walked in, I nailed it. Nice. But the fear was still there of being judged. But it's just how I reacted to it and how I worked through it again.
You use the word judged a lot of times. It's just, I think people doing better than me, people who are doing better than me, they never judge me. People doing worse than me, they judge me. That's the big killer. Like when it comes to the fear of judgment, my way of tackling that specific fear, whoever's operating at a higher frequency will never criticize you, will never judge you.
Right.
It's only someone who's doing lower, because that person wants to either drag you down or do something like that. And that's like the way of coping the judgment, like all that stuff. What if they have that kind of, okay, well, their opinions don't pay my bills.
Right.
So this is how I tackle like the fear of judgment. Also, it's like I compare fear to like a balloon. It's like a balloon. Every day you don't take action, you blow air in it, it gets bigger. And then and then the next day you don't do something, or you still keep, and then one day it becomes a hot air balloon. You can't even have, it becomes like this big parachute or something. So you just have to go to Dollarama, buy a little pin, and just
there you go.
Hey, yep.
So does anybody else have any questions or comments to Dina? Like to share something? Okay. Sorry, Bernie?
I said, go ahead, Willie.
Well, I was going to say judgment is a very negative thing. If you allow other people to judge you, you're going to be in a bad place. And making comparisons is never a great idea. Comparing yourself to other people. So I flippantly say it's a question of mind over matter. I don't mind what they think because they don't matter. So that's the way I go over it. Another thing about fear is, and this phrase was allegedly said by Henry Ford, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
You're right.
And
It's all down to your thinking. If you think you can do something, you're halfway there. If you think you can't, you're absolutely not going to be able to do it. So it's all about the way we think. If we think we're going to be frightened, we'll be frightened. If we think we can get through it, as Dana had done, you'll get through it.
Exactly. I love using when people say impossible. Oh, that's impossible. That's impossible. I'm not going to be able to do that because that's impossible. I said, did you really look at the word? It says, possible.
That's right. Possible. Catherine Hepburn, was that where that came from? I can't remember. Right?
I don't remember where it came from either.
I used to have that. I love all your little quotes, Diane. I think that we're kindred spirits.
Yes.
Because now I want you to go, false evidence appearing real. Why not flip it and call it what?
Feeling excited and ready.
I love it. So on that note, I'm going to take us back here for a minute. I'm going to come back to you, Dinah. Oh my God. You know what? I keep looking at your name. There's an I and I keep on looking at it. It is Dina, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
And we're going to come back to you and I'll ask you for maybe the top 3 takeaways to leave our audience with today. In the meantime, I am going to post a few notes because I think that we're not utilizing Hello LinkedIn World and YouTube World enough. So in the chat, there is our link to Connect Ottawa. This is actually went live. If you were on this call or if you're out there, why not go drop a note, share a comment, and leave your contact information so we can get to know you. I'll also suggest you like our Connect Ottawa page because this is where we actually go live every week. So that's housekeeping tip 1. On Thursdays, as mentioned before, we have our business networking sessions. It's awesome. We have a new agenda. We're looking to change things up these falls. We are not being afraid. We are stepping out of our comfort zone. And here's my other quote: change. If it's not working and you're doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results, let's change it up, baby. So I don't know, this last 2 years have been quite the ride and I'm willing for change. So I appreciate everybody's showing up, comments, feedback, what we can do better. But Thursdays is our staple event from 12 to 1 for the team shows up there. It hasn't been a large event, but that's okay because here's what I think. Whoever shows up and is ready are the people that come. And we're looking to grow that session this week. And one other thing, Whit, I know I am interested in presenting. I am going to skip all the other things. If you are interested in presenting and going, yeah, Margaret, I'd like to present. Tuesdays haven't been available, or we might have an opening coming up. It's as simple as filling in that form. There is a small fee for our services, but as mentioned earlier, we're going to be opening up different time slots to accommodate people. Because as you just saw on this call, it was to provide solutions. Dina, this was her first time actually doing a presentation in this forum. Next week, we're looking forward to hearing from Mayank. I'm going to get Bernie to share what Mayank's presentation is, but I think that that's cool. Alan, I know that you were on the roster, so you might want to fill that in. Michael, you might want to, but it's about us doing it together. So we'll create events, collaboration, invite people in, and you're going to have an audience, so you can come in and share that and put it on your website and be edified. I think it's just a great thing to share. I might do one again myself. And on that note, Bernie, what did I miss? What's happening?
Well, next Tuesday is Mayank Sharma talking about from the ground up. So that's the link for the Zoom link for next week. The other key piece, Margaret Ann's going to share ever so shortly the Survey Says link in the chat. because it's not coming out through email for me anymore. And there's a kind of a transition phase where most of the announcements will be coming through Margaret Ann's MailChimp. So we've kind of phasing over the process. The other really important part is save the chat. So open it up, hit those little 3 dots, save those puppies. That way, if you want to reach out to anybody here, you can find them on LinkedIn. I mean, our names are unique enough. And if you're already connected with one of us, you'll see us a second connection. And when you're also connecting on LinkedIn, follow on in LinkedIn for the Connect Ottawa site. You'll have other information. You'll see what other broadcasts are coming up. But the best place to also is the newsletter. You'll get everything that's happening, upcoming events continuously. Again, because where things are shifting, we're going to use a little less, and we've changed platforms in the background, so that those announcements will come up differently. So that's a good way to keep tab and flow of what's going on. Over to you, Margaret Ann.
Okay, great. Yeah, because for those that have been part of the ride, you'll be getting emails right now that are asking you to confirm through. It's a little transition. We shut down our Mighty Network, as mentioned before. So just be patient as we transition. Sometimes change can be a little bit of a rough water, but we're looking for a smooth transition. And thank you all for participating and joining us again. And on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Dina. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us today. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Courageous. Yeah, I have nothing to say. I'm going to leave it to you. What are the 3 top takeaways that you would like viewers to take away today?
Oh, what are the top 3? Actually, ask yourself what you might be most afraid of. Identifying it is the key. And then finding the tools that you can use to work through them. I gave you a few examples. There are so many tools out there. It's just finding the right one for yourself. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
I love it.
To be honest, there's like I said, there's just so many different things to say here. To just give you the top 3 is a little difficult for me because I got so many things going through my mind right now.
That is all right, Dina. You did an amazing job. Now, if you want to copy and paste your information and put it in the chat, and Dina, as mentioned, is offering 30-minute sessions for new clients or referrals to help them on their journey. And you can reach out to her. Would that be correct? And Dina, you know what else I'm going to offer or mention is if you can go to the Connect Ottawa LinkedIn page, I think this is great, and just make a comment in the comments, because then that will actually be a direct link for anybody watching on LinkedIn that they could just click your information and go there. Okay. So on that note, guess what? We did it. Dina, we always have a thing that we're going to be done at 2:00. It is 1:59. So you can all run and go to your little business before your next Zoom call. And thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you, Dina. It was a pleasure having you here.
I think her signal dropped. She was frozen. So just FYI.
Okay.
She wasn't moving. So very static position for too long.
Good catch.
Bernie, would you mind sharing with me like the link for the payment? Because that's the only thing that's missing.
Oh, that's going to come from Margaret Ann.
Okay. I think she did.
There, I just I just stopped that.
You're still live streaming.
Okay, and I'm still